really dark outside. So, the first book that I have here is the Czech edition of The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And this is such a popular book. It's ridiculous. So today I slept a little more so I can translate some stuff do you not like in my last video. So it says, what if you could change your past decisions? Nora hates her life, but when she wants to end her life, she gets a chance to pick whatever book out of the infinite library of options. Okay, so I've heard some good and bad things about this book. So if you can already tell, it's about a woman with depression that doesn't want to live anymore, and she gets taken to this magical place called the Midnight Library, where she can visit other versions of her life based on the decisions she made, or more like didn't make previously. And the reason why I heard some controversial stuff about it is just that it has this like very simplistic approach to depression, kind of like, oh look how great your life is, look how awesome life is, so you don't have to be depressed. And that's not how depression works, unfortunately, because at the end of the day, depression is literally just chemical imbalance in your brain. That's it. And that's why some people really didn't like it. Some people found it, calming, assuring. So I don't know. Let's see how I will like this book. To be honest, the concept sounds really interesting, and it's something that I'm naturally drawn to. How different decisions affect your life and how things could have been different if you just made this decision, because oftentimes I make a decision and I guess I'm a very indecisive person in general, because I'm like, oh, I should have made this decision instead. I wish I could go back and tell myself, hey, don't make this decision. Usually it's about, life-related decisions, and there are often times where I feel like I just can't win, because no matter what kind of decision I make about my life, I would just not be happy with it. So yeah, I'm excited to be picking this book up, because it sounds like a very emotional read about regret, life, and stuff. Decisions, I already talked about that. I don't know exactly what genre this book is. I'm guessing it's magical realism, or it can be fantasy. Is it magical realism? I don't know. I think from the premise and the synopsis, I think that's where I would categorize this book. And I've heard that this was almost like a therapy for the author, because he was going through basically the same thing as the main character in this book. And by writing this book, he was able to overcome his difficulties, basically. So The Midnight Library, very popular book. judge it more harshly. So these days I like to just pick up books randomly and not care if it's overhyped or, underhyped, nothing like that. I just want to go into reading with like a clear mind, and make my own opinion and not really read a lot of reviews and stuff. But then I end up watching a lot of booktube and I end up listening to a lot of reviews, and this way I can find some great books to read to or to listen to. But I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. So the second book that I have here is very heavy because it is the exclusive edition of the Little Mermaid and Other Fairy Tales by Hans Christian Andersen. So I've mentioned on my channel multiple times now that The Little Mermaid was one of my favorite fairy tales growing up. The original version, not the Disney version. I don't really like the Disney version for some reason. I know that people really like the Disney version. I just don't. I like sad endings in books, especially in fairy tales, because it teaches you a lesson. And that's what classical fairy tales were, usually they were made for adults and they were supposed to teach you a lesson, or for teens at least, not necessarily for kids. So this is the exclusive Meinalema edition, and I'm not gonna show you a lot of the book because I want to do a flip through on my Patreon or for my members on YouTube, and we're gonna go through like the whole book and we're gonna do some tracing and stuff like that. So I'm gonna only show you like bits and pieces. I actually don't know if I've posted the video already or not because I'm filming this video like way before and I don't know when I'm gonna post it. But here you have really pretty illustrations inside, and you have some interactive stuff as well. Like here. Wait, so I think you should be able to. Oh no. Okay. I think you should be able to move this. Oh, okay, it's done. Let me put the paper back there. Oh, you have really pretty illustrations like over here. And I have two book buying modes basically. Either I buy really cheap used books, or I buy really expensive special editions of books, and there's like no in between usually. So let me read you the back of the book. I'm certain they never dreamed that a lovely little mermaid was standing down below, stretching up her white hands towards the first heartbreak when I was 4 or 5 years old. And literally, that story taught me that you shouldn't waste time and energy on people that don't deserve that. And I think that's a very valuable lesson to learn, especially early on. However, unfortunately, when I grew up, I still made some mistakes like that. I still was the little mermaid, metaphorically. But I got out of those situations. So, my story has a good ending. Wait, so there are 12 fairy tales in it. Let me read you the titles. The Little Mermaid, The Nightingale, The Ugly Duckling, The Swineherd, The Tinderbox, The Princess and the Pea, The Emperor's New Clothes, The Red Shoes, Thumbelina, The Steadfast Tin Soldier, The Little Match Girl, and The Snow Queen. Here's the first page as well. If I'm not mistaken, the Snow Queen inspired Frozen, I think. But I'm not exactly sure because I've never read that story before actually. I'm familiar with like 80% of these, so I don't know all. And I'm excited to finally read these. I also like the Ugly Duckling story a lot because I feel like I've related to it a lot growing up. I was always the ugly duckling in like middle school, high school, even in uni in like the first few years. And then I don't know what happened, but here we are. Because, you know, I'm not saying that I'm like a beautiful swan now, but things were very different in high school. And I was definitely a late bloomer for sure. So if you would see my pictures from high school, you would understand, or middle school. Even in like the first few years of uni, just it was bad. It was very bad. Okay, so let's move on to the last book, I think. Gosh, I love this book. The design. It's so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay. The last book that I have here. Can you guess what it is? Another edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Or Sorcerer's Stone, whatever you prefer if you're from the UK or from the America. I wasn't planning on buying this edition. But when I looked at the shop, these two books were the absolute cheapest for some reason, and so I got these. I really wanted to get the Chamber of Secrets too, and the Jungle Book as well, or Jungle Books, I don't know exactly how it's titled in English. I think it's the Jungle Book, because that's also one of my favorite fairy tales from my childhood. But I ended up just buying another edition of the Philosopher's Stone, and that is save it until I will actually reread the book again. I've read the first book twice now only, so that's because I usually don't reread books. Only if an illustrated edition of the book comes out, then I will reread it, because now I have an excuse to reread it. But I don't reread books in most cases. What else can I show you? Oh. There aren't illustrations on every single page, but there's still a lot. So I'm excited to reread it again. I don't know, I feel like I still have like a child in me, you know, that's just excited to read children's books that are illustrated. Especially these days, I tend not to read a lot of dark books because, I don't know, with everything going on right now, whether it's in the world or in my personal life, that I can't even handle something dark. Yeah, because I have enough darkness in my life already, so that's why I gravitate a lot towards children's books these days, or books about mental health, or just random relaxing fictional books. And I do read some non-fiction these days too, but that's because I'm reading it for a video that I'm making for my booktube channel. And I like non-fiction too, but I read non-fiction way too slower than fiction. I think the majority of people are like that though, so these days I'm actually reading a book about introversion and how to navigate the world when you're introverted, which I am, and I'll talk about it in a video probably. And I will make a video about like all good books I've read recently. And it was interesting because it said that introverts are more prone to talk online and share stuff online, and then people actually get surprised because they're like, oh, now I can see your true self. I feel like a lot of my friends, if they would watch my videos, they would also be very surprised. Okay, let me read you the back. Harry Potter is used to a world without magic. His miserable aunt and uncle make sure of that. But then mysterious letters start arriving, each addressed to Harry in emerald green ink. Change tinkles in the air. Adventure awaits. Oh. Change tinkles in the air. Oh, I was like, wait, tinkles? ASMR tinkles, what's going on? No. Adventure awaits. For Harry Potter is no ordinary boy. He is a wizard, and nothing will ever be the same again. With brilliant full-color illustrations and inventive paper-engineered features from award-winning design house Minalima, this stunning edition of the first book in the Harry Potter series will charm and delight readers of all ages. Now that I think about it, oh, let me show you the spine too. I've never read Harry Potter in English. Yeah, I always read the Czech editions. Okay, this will be exciting to read in English too. Okay, so that will be it for today's video. I always say that I will not make another book haul in a long time, and then I end up making one, but this time, for the first time in years, I really don't feel the need to buy more books. So hopefully this time I will not buy any, because it's getting ridiculous, and I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I would just buy books and I would make an excuse to be like, oh, but I can make a video out of it. liked it, and I'll see you